Welcome to Old Stuff Show. We have just come back from a trip up north watching the fall leaves, and along the way looked for especially mid-century modern stuff at antique shops, and have come back with some pretty nice stuff. The leaves were spectacular, and here's a little sample of what we saw. So we're back at the booth and show you some of the mid-mod stuff that we picked up. I really like these chairs, the wrought iron, the twisted wrought iron, often seen in the early 60s. Two chairs. I found this in an antique shop. I spied one to start off, and the lady said, "Oh, there's another one, but the seat needs fixing." So, anyways, we have two, and that's great to have a pair. And if they're recovered, somebody will have a pretty spectacular pair of chairs that way. And then there's also this type of chair with the rounded wood arms and legs, and material is quite heavy and probably needs to be recovered. I could just picture somebody in 1950s, early 60s sitting in that chair with that mid-mod floor lamp beside them. That's a pretty nice lamp, and I really like the two-tier top bulbs and shade with the bottom light. It's very typical of that time period. So to have a floor lamp like that is pretty nice if you're decorating your home in mid-century modern. And that person who was sitting in that chair at that time probably was smoking. And here's a great example of a mid-modern ashtray and stand, and maybe it was a pipe that was being smoked, maybe it was cigarettes that was being smoked. Ashtrays were a very common thing, sitting on a side table. That side table, typical again of the mid-mod, and could be Rothschild, could be Vilas. And as the individual was sitting in the chair, they were reassured by magazines that were telling them that smoking was okay, so they didn't hesitate. And while sitting there, of course, they wanted to know television and typical TV listings. This one for TV Topics. A more common one was the TV Guide. Those are collectible today. And the TVs, I can remember in my own family, 1954, having the first black and white TV in our family. And only 10 years later, there was a color TV came out in '64. And there was a store where I lived who had an offer that you could have a coin box on your new color TV and have it for 3 months, and if you decided to buy it after 3 months, the coins would contribute to the purchase of the TV. But what a what a great event that was, to be able to see sporting events in color. And I just remember so clearly seeing the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and so on. It was a pretty neat thing to look at. And then, of course, if the individual was somewhat hungry, the TV table was a common commodity at that time, and would be placed in front of the chair with perhaps the TV dinners, which was a common thing as well. And so these I have all for sale at my market booth. And then as we sit there dreaming, quite possibly the individual out on the driveway had his dream car. Maybe it was a 56 Chev, and these were the cars with lots of chrome in those days. And then what was for dinner? Mother cooking the dinner was the usual thing here, and to have a nice set of dishes was great to have. This is Mason Vista, which is really a very unique piece of dishware. That soup tureen at the back there is quite spectacular. Has the ladle, has the original platter, and something that you don't always see. So that would be something that people would be very proud of and bring it out in on their special occasions, holidays. We also have some other examples of mid-century modern lamps for side tables. People are looking for this kind of thing today. So mid-century modern is trendy today, and there are people younger people especially, who find it quite funky and looking to furnish their apartments or condos with anything like that they can get. I guess what comes around goes around comes around, and this certainly is the kind of thing that people are looking for today. All kinds of vases and lamps and floor lamps and furniture, chairs. And then of course on the wall of the typical mid-century living room or dining room, you can see things like these silhouette pictures. These come in all sizes. They're fairly common, fairly easy to find, and kind of unique in many ways. When our gentleman got up in the morning, the electric shaver was instead of a blade. This was a great handy thing for them in the 50s, 60s, and I remember trying to use that in the beginning, and it wasn't something I stuck with, but it was trendy at that time. Then of course in children's rooms, perhaps in a bedroom, you might see something like that on the wall. There's a picture of a baby. And record players, I don't have a record player, but certainly record players would be listening in the 50s to Elvis, and rock and roll came in. It was quite a decade when you think of it, with all the chrome cars and rock and roll music and post-war comforts, and so it was something that people were very proud of. And today here we are, many years later, collecting it and finding it quite unique. Because it's so popular, I have a difficult time keeping up with everybody who wants this type of thing, but it's out there, and we just, as I said, on our leaf visit and tour of the colors, we were able to pick up some of these very unique pieces. So if you're looking to be somewhat trendy in today's society, certainly this is the route to take in all aspects. Furniture and dishes and figurines and lamps and so on. Royal Doultons at that time was something that was special for people to have, and not so much today, but I remember buying, I think it was about 25 Royal Doultons, and the person that owned them was a smoker, and it took quite a while to get the nicotine cleaned off these Doultons, so that was a problem. But people were didn't hesitate to smoke quite often. So, just a few things to consider and to look for, and we were happy to be able to combine the beautiful fall colors with some beautiful mid-mod pieces. So I hope you enjoyed that brief look, and if you're around looking, even if you don't buy, I appreciate these things in today's market. They're something that they're sought after quite a bit, so have a look. So that's it for today, and thank you for watching, and don't forget, I do have an eBay site. The information is coming up shortly, and at Aberfoyle in under 2 weeks this year. So next summer we're hoping to see you folks if you're in the area, and come by and say hello. Also, shout out to Nancy at Wishes and Weeds. She's focused on junk journals. That's another trendy thing in today's market, and use of some of the original materials, especially paper materials. That's something that you might want to look up on her site. So that's it. Bye for now. See you next time.